The gold elevator opened into silence. Monica stepped into the billionaire's penthouse, carrying her cleaning kit like she had every Tuesday for the past 6 months. But today, something felt off. The apartment was spotless, as usual. White marble floors, floor-to-ceiling windows, and air that smelled more like money than any cleaning product could mask. And then, a baby's cry. Not a soft whimper. A raw, desperate scream that cut through the silence like broken glass. Monica paused, glancing toward the hallway. No nanny, no parent, no sound of movement. Just that one heartbreaking cry echoing through the walls. She turned to place her supplies down and froze. "Where the hell is my Rolex?" The voice was sharp, loud, and furious. Richard Langford stormed into the room, barefoot, shirt half-buttoned, with rage boiling in his eyes. His gaze landed on her. "You were in my closet," he snapped. Monica blinked. "Excuse me?" "My watch. Gone. A $60,000 submariner doesn't just walk away, and you're the only outsider who walked in this morning." She stared at him. "I came here to clean, Mr. Langford, like I always do." He took a step closer. "Don't play innocent. People like you know how to walk out with what doesn't belong to them." That phrase, "people like you," cut deeper than anything else. She'd heard it before, too many times. "I think you should check your facts," she said firmly. "And your pockets." He scoffed. "Don't get clever. I'll be calling the police, and you'll open that bag." Monica didn't flinch. "Please do." Another scream echoed from the hallway. She glanced toward the sound. "Your baby's still crying." He didn't move. "That's what the nanny's for." Monica's jaw clenched, but the baby didn't stop. And something in her heart told her. This wasn't just crying. It was neglect. While Richard fumbled with his phone to dial the police, Monica took one step toward the hallway. Not as a cleaner, but as the only person in that apartment who actually cared. The crying grew louder with every step she took down the hallway. Monica knew she could get fired for this. Elite cleaning strictly forbade entering private rooms. But rules didn't matter when a baby sounded like he hadn't been held all day. She pushed the nursery door open gently. The sight stopped her cold. The baby, no more than 6 months old, lay in a crib with a soaked diaper, a red face, and tears smeared across both cheeks. His tiny fists were clenched, chest heaving, legs kicking wildly. There was no nanny, no bottle, no camera monitor, just silence, and a baby that had been left alone far too long. Monica's hands moved on instinct. She grabbed a fresh diaper from a shelf, changed him quickly, and wrapped him in the soft blanket tossed to one side of the crib. "It's okay," she whispered, cradling him in her arms. "You're not alone anymore." The change was instant. His sobs slowed, then stopped. He leaned into her chest like he had found something he hadn't felt in hours: comfort. Monica held him tighter, rocking gently, humming without realizing it. She'd done this before. Back home in Virginia, she'd helped raise her sister's kids while juggling 2 jobs. Babies didn't scare her. But what did scare her was how easy it was for rich men to ignore their own children. The door behind her creaked. "What the hell are you doing?" Richard's voice broke the moment. He stood frozen in the doorway, still clutching his phone. Monica didn't jump. She turned calmly toward him. He was screaming. No one was here. "Put him down. Now." She gently passed the baby into his arms. Within seconds, the baby started wailing again, louder, sharper, more distressed than before. Richard looked shocked. What's wrong with him now? Monica didn't move. Babies sense things. Anger, coldness, maybe even fear. You trying to tell me I make my son cry? I'm telling you he stopped when I held him. That's all. Richard looked down at the crying child in disbelief. For a second, just a flicker, something in him cracked. But then, like always, ego took over. He turned his back and rocked the baby awkwardly. But the screaming only got worse. His hand trembled slightly as he tried to soothe his son. But nothing worked. You must have done something, he muttered. Maybe he's still hungry or… He was hungry for attention, Monica said. He needed a human being, not a schedule. Richard's eyes narrowed. So now the maid's giving parenting advice? I'm not giving advice, she said, still calm. I'm explaining what just happened. Right. And I'm supposed to believe the woman who just made my son magically quiet also didn't steal my watch? His voice rose. That's convenient. Monica folded her arms, steady as stone. I've been coming here for 6 months. Never once have you even said good morning. But now, suddenly, I'm a thief? You were in the closet. I was cleaning around it, not inside it. And if you think I took your watch, go ahead. Call the police. Search my bag. Run the cameras. That made him pause. Monica took a step forward. Because I have nothing to hide. Can you say the same? He laughed bitterly. You think you're clever. I just think you're not used to someone standing up to you. The baby wailed louder. Richard's hand tightened around the phone. I'm reporting you to elite cleaning. You're done here. You think this is the first time someone's tried to ruin my name? She asked. If you want to threaten me, at least make it interesting. You're fired. Good, Monica said. Now I'm free to say exactly what I want to the police when they arrive. Richard's jaw clenched, but he stayed silent. Monica picked up her supplies and headed toward the living room. As she walked, her voice floated back without turning. You might want to check the security footage before you embarrass yourself further. He didn't respond. But behind him, the baby kept crying, like he knew exactly who the real threat was. Monica placed her supplies back in the cleaning cart, moving slowly, deliberately, like someone with absolutely nothing to hide. Behind her, she could hear Richard pacing. The baby was still screaming in his arms, and his voice was growing sharp again, this time more frustrated than furious. Then his phone buzzed. He glanced down. A text from his private investigator. Call me. Now it's urgent. A second buzz. His lawyer. Need to discuss your conduct. This can't happen again. Then a third. His wife's assistant. Victoria will be extending her stay. She said not to contact her. Richard swallowed hard. His grip on the baby loosened. Something inside him flickered. Panic. Monica turned to face him. Everything okay? He looked up, trying to fake control. Stay out of my business. She raised an eyebrow, then calmly added, Check under your car. Richard froze. What? I said, check under your car. He stared at her like she had just read his mind. Monica gave the room one last glance, then pushed the cart toward the elevator. You think walking out makes you right? He shouted after her. The police will still show up. Good, she replied. Maybe they'll be smart enough to look at the footage. He didn't follow, just stood there, sweating now, while his son cried in his arms and his phone buzzed again. As the elevator doors began to close, Monica looked at him one last time and said quietly, "You're not being hunted, Mr. Langford. You just got caught." And then she was gone. Richard stood in the center of the penthouse, angry, confused, and for the first time all day, genuinely afraid. He stormed into the garage 30 minutes later, phone pressed to his ear, ignoring the trail of messages piling up. The investigator's voice came through, tense and cold. "You need to find that watch, Richard. The agency's already getting complaints. If this goes public again—" Richard cut him off. I know. Then he saw it. Just beneath the rear tire of his matte black Range Rover, something shiny caught the light. He crouched down slowly. The Rolex, still ticking. His fingers trembled as he picked it up. He hadn't been robbed. He'd dropped it. Carelessly. Thoughtlessly. He'd nearly destroyed someone's life over his own forgetfulness. Before he could process it, the building security manager approached. "Mr. Langford, the officers are upstairs." Richard blinked. "Officers?" "Yes, sir. Responding to your theft call. But we reviewed the cameras. You may want to explain." Back upstairs, 2 detectives waited in the foyer. They listened quietly as Richard fumbled through his explanation, saying he may have misunderstood the situation. Detective Alvarez opened his notebook. "So, you accused your cleaner of stealing a $60,000 watch, but just now found it under your own vehicle?" Richard nodded stiffly. "Apparently." "Did you threaten her?" the other asked. "No," he said quickly, then paused. "Maybe. It got heated." "Were you aware the building cameras show her arriving at 9 a.m. and not leaving at any point?" Richard's voice cracked. "Yes." Alvarez leaned forward slightly. "You also told the company she was dangerous, that she shouldn't be allowed in elite homes. That's now documented." Richard stayed silent. His phone buzzed again, his wife's lawyer. Then another. Channel 7 News. He didn't answer. Monica, on the other hand, was calmly sitting in a quiet corner cafe, typing out a formal complaint to the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. She wasn't angry. She was prepared. And Richard was beginning to realize he hadn't just accused the wrong person. He'd awakened someone who'd been quietly watching and who now had nothing holding her back. Monica's fingers tapped steadily across her phone screen. She wasn't rushing. She was calculating. Every message, every detail, every step mattered now. She didn't just know how to protect herself. She knew how to expose people like Richard. And she wasn't done yet. She opened her contacts and called someone she hadn't spoken to in over a year. "Detective Lila Grant," the voice answered. "It's Monica Thomas." A pause, then warmth. Well, my sharpest trainee. What do you need?" "Legal access to building footage, and I may need help filing a federal complaint." "You were cleaning again, weren't you?" "Part-time," Monica said, her tone dry. "To support my criminology studies. But I think today just paid for my entire degree." Grant chuckled. "You still record everything?" "My phone's auto-record feature hasn't missed a beat." An hour later, Monica had everything she needed. Time-stamped footage, audio of the accusation, a copy of the police report, and a direct line to a civil rights attorney in D.C. who had handled 3 similar cases, all settled for 6 figures. Meanwhile, Richard sat in his office, facing his board of directors. The room was dead quiet, as a large screen displayed security footage of Monica entering the building, never touching his closet, and never leaving. Board chairwoman Ellen Voss looked him dead in the eye. "You filed a false report," she said flatly, "and it's not your first accusation involving a black employee." Richard's mouth was dry. "I didn't mean—" She raised a hand. "Save it. We've received a press inquiry about discrimination patterns under your leadership." He tried to stand. "We can handle this internally." "No, Richard," she said. "You can't." At that exact moment, Channel 7 News tweeted, "Coming up at 7 p.m., elite CEO accuses black employee, but surveillance shows the truth." Monica wasn't watching the news. She was already on a Zoom call with a new firm. The recruiter smiled warmly. "We saw what happened, and we'd like to offer you a position on our internal investigations team. $85,000 to start. Full benefits." Monica smiled. "Let's talk terms." 6 months later, Monica sat in a glass-walled office on the 21st floor of a corporate tower overlooking downtown D.C. Her name was etched in silver on the door. Monica Thomas, Senior Investigator. She no longer wore cleaning gloves. Now, she wore confidence like armor. The same hands that once scrubbed marble floors now signed contracts, led internal audits, and consulted on civil rights cases across the country. Outside her office, a younger employee knocked gently. "Ms. Thomas, Channel 7's here for your civil rights segment." She stood, smoothed her blazer, and walked out with quiet strength. In a suburban apartment miles away, Richard Langford sat hunched over a kitchen table stacked with unpaid bills. His penthouse was long gone, his board position terminated, his marriage over. The name Monica Thomas flashed on his TV screen. His toddler son tugged on his sleeve. "Daddy, is that the lady from your work?" Richard looked at the screen, then at his son. He couldn't answer. Not because he didn't know what to say, but because he finally understood. Monica's voice came through the television, calm and powerful. "I wasn't just falsely accused. I was underestimated. And that's exactly why I won." Later that night, Monica walked home in peace. She wasn't angry anymore. She didn't need revenge. She had something far greater: the truth, the respect, and a name that no one would ever dare doubt again. Richard had tried to break her with his privilege. Instead, he had built her legacy with his downfall. Sometimes karma doesn't shout. It simply lets the truth speak louder.